Hi everyone and welcome. Today we're going to go over Express Entry overview. My name is Tatiana Vasilyeva. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant at Imifix Canada. Let's go. So why do you need to know about Express Entry? And that is for you to determine whether you can use the fastest and cheapest way to come to Canada as a permanent resident without even having to look for a job. Even though many applicants think that Express Entry is a program, it's not. It's not a program. Express Entry is a system that manages three federal programs: Federal Skilled Worker, Federal Skilled Trades, and Canadian Experience Class. And it also can be used as a step in the provincial nominee program. For example, you could hear some provinces have an Express Entry stream. So for that stream, you will need an Express Entry profile. Okay, but how does the system work? You will need to qualify for at least one federal program from the list that I shared on the previous slide, create an Express Entry profile, and once you submit it, you're assigned a number of points. This is called your CRS score, your Comprehensive Ranking System score. Then all candidates with different scores and different background information enter a pool of candidates where they wait for the next selection draw. Hopefully they get selected in the next draw, and then IRCC will need you to provide more information and upload the documents that they're looking for. And this is when you apply for permanent residence. Usually it takes IRCC 6 to 12 months to process an application. And then once you get an approval, you get an immigrant visa, and you would need to travel to Canada and use that immigrant visa to cross the border. And this is when you become a permanent resident. When it comes to your CRS score, meeting the minimum eligibility requirements usually is not enough. It doesn't usually guarantee that you will be selected from the pool and you will receive an invitation to apply. So we will need to look at your CRS score to see how likely you are to get selected in the nearest future. And the number of points that you get is assigned based on your background information. And this is what IRCC is looking at. They look at your age, education, work experience, knowledge of official languages, English and/or French, skill transferability factors, which are different combinations of different factors that could add additional points to your CRS score. So for example, it could be a combination of a certain level of education and a certain level of knowledge of official languages that could give you additional points. IRCC is also looking at other factors, such as whether you have siblings in Canada, whether you have a provincial nomination or a job offer, but these are not always needed to guarantee success. Try not to overwhelm you with how the points are calculated. I thought it would be better if I gave you a couple of examples. So we have 4 applicants here. We have Lily, who's 29 years old. You could be 20 to 29 years old and you would still get the same number of points. She has a master's degree, 3 years of work experience in her home country. She's never been to Canada, and she knows English at an intermediate level. So that gives her 363 points, which is not bad at all. We also have Mary here. Mary is also 29 years old, and she has the same background information as Lily, except her English is a little bit better. She speaks English at an upper intermediate to advanced level, and that alone gives her over 100 additional points. So she has 469 points. We also have Anna, who has the same background information as Mary, but in addition to that, she has 1 year of studying in Canada and 1 year of Canadian work experience, and that gives her 524 points. And our last but not least applicant is Jane, who has the same background information as Anna, except for Jane speaks French at an intermediate level, and she has 586 points. So what are their chances of getting selected? Let's take a look at the most recent rounds of invitation. And on the screen, you can see the rounds that happened in August and July 2024. So we can see the date, the round type. There are different round types. On the screen, you can see Canadian Experience Class, Provincial Nominee, and French Language Proficiency. There are also draws for healthcare occupations, STEM, transport occupations, and also there are general draws where all the applicants that have an express entry profile can participate. But usually for the general draw, the CRS points are quite high. The lowest CRS score of an applicant selected is quite high. So you can also see the number of invitations issued for each draw and the CRS score of the lowest ranked candidate invited. And we will be very interested in that. So when we look at the last draw that happened on August 27, 2024, the round type was Canadian Experience Class, and the lowest score was 507 points. So let's now get back to our applicants. To qualify for a Canadian Experience Class, you need at least 1 year of qualified Canadian work experience, and Anna and Jane would be selected in that round of invitation, and Lily and Mary wouldn't be participating because they don't qualify for a Canadian Experience Class. So Anna, with her score of 524, would be selected in every Canadian Experience Class round of invitation, depending on when she created her express entry profile. And Jane would also be selected under French language proficiency round type because she speaks French at an intermediate level, and it's one of the requirements of that stream. Mary would still have a chance if she qualified for earlier rounds of invitation. If she qualified for healthcare occupations, trade occupations, or transport occupations, she would have a chance of being selected. So if you've never been to Canada, it doesn't mean that you cannot be selected. It just depends on your background information. Lily, unfortunately, wouldn't be selected in any of the draws that we looked at. So with Lily, we would need to think what she can do to improve her CRS score, or we would need to explore some alternative options with her. So if your profile, if your background information looks like Anna's or Jane's, and you're interested in staying in Canada permanently, I would suggest starting the process as soon as possible. And if your profile looks more like Mary's, the chances of success would largely depend on your employment history. If you would like me to assess your personal immigration options, please follow the link in the description to this video to get started. And if you have any questions or any suggestions for the future video topics, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for your attention, and talk to you soon.